If you hate this country, you should just get out. There are volumes of left-wing academics who have written extensively that the American Revolution is one of the worst moments in human history. They actually believe the world would be a better place if we lost the revolution, if we did not break free, if we were not independent. Let me go over a few of the things that make this country so awesome. You know, think about the Constitution and the freedom of speech. The freedom of speech not only lets me host this program, lets you say what you want to say, it has allowed us to create culture, subculture, and sub-subcultures. We have all sorts of music in this country. You might not like all of it. You might not like the lyrics. You might not like the beat. But we have all sorts of music. Our freedom and our liberty has let us create culture and subculture. So let's say the car culture. Some people like muscle cars. Some people like sports cars. Some people like Harley Davidsons. Some people like street bikes. That creates culture and subculture. That makes us a free people. If this country was or is what the Democrats say it is, why are there millions of people trying to get in every single day? If this is the most terrible, awful, racist place on earth, why are Africans, Jamaicans, Central Americans, Mexicans all trying to get in through the southern border if this country is so terrible? And if they're going to tell you on Independence Day that some people are not free, and if one of us isn't free, we're all not free, why don't they ever tell us what other country they want us to be more like? They never tell us. And the same liberal left-wing elitists that threaten every time a Republican wins an election that they're going to go somewhere else, it's always Canada. They never threaten to go to a country that's not majority white. So which country do you people on the left want this country to be more like? They can never name one. And if and when they do hint at it, it's always Norway, the whitest place on earth. This is the best place in the world for anyone who is non-white. That is a fact. That is an absolute fact. You are free to move up this social and economic food chain in this country on your merits, your character, and your hard work. Why? Because we believe in freedom. We don't believe in a caste system. We don't believe that your last name or the zip code you were born in is going to be a permanent estate for you socially and economically. People have come to this country with nothing, and they've made everything. And that you must appreciate. Again, if you think other countries are more right, more fair, more just than this country that was born of yes rebellion and sought freedom and then later granted freedom to the slaves, tell me which country you think is better than the United States. And I'll ask you again, why don't you live there? You've got all these anti-gun Democrats. Well, one mass shooting in Australia and they got rid of guns. Okay, they speak English. Go move there. I don't reject things like single-payer health care because I'm a mean, terrible, awful person. I reject it because it is a giveaway of my independence. Same thing for government-run education. Same thing for government-run transportation. Same thing for government-run housing. If the Democrats had their way between affirmatively furthering fair housing, Build Back Better, the Green New Deal, the open border, and single payer, you would be born into government servitude and you would die in government servitude. You'd be born in a government hospital. You would take government transportation to government-run schools. The government would determine where you could live, where you could work. You would only ever travel on government rail, be fed government news information if they could control communications. When you want to see the doctor, you go to a government hospital. And then maybe if you played by the rules of the government, they might give you some retirement. The fact of the matter is, in a less free society where all services come from government, government doesn't have anything that is not first provided to it by the people. The people don't own anything. They end up renting everything from government. Independence Day weekend is a celebration of freedom, of liberty, of prosperity, and yes, even private property. You know, it's something I do on my radio show, and I haven't made much mention here. We call it the Everyman King. Capitalism and free markets and limited government allowed us to create a market for every man, every woman to have the things that were once only reserved for the super rich. You look at this country 70, 100 years ago, who had backyard swimming pools? When you look at the rise of the automobile industry and boats and the cell phones, all of these things we can acquire. We can have everything that the super rich have. Now, it might not be the exact same thing. It might not be the exact same size or the exact same shape or the exact same cost. But we don't live in a society where the government tells us what we can and cannot have. So when I sit on the back of my boat, as I will when I leave here tonight and this weekend, and maybe I'm smoking a cigar, and maybe I've got a beverage in my hand, and I'm watching the sunset over this beautiful country of ours, I'm going to feel like a king. Now, I'm not a king. I'm not a ruler. I'm not an oligarch. I'm not a billionaire. I'm just a regular guy who hosts a radio show and a TV show, has a wife and 3 kids, and lives on a lake in New Jersey. But I feel like a king sitting on the back of a boat I bought, a used boat, no less. I'm not a super rich guy, but I feel like a king. The United States created a society, a nation, a country, and a people that lets each and every one of us feel like a king. I don't mean a ruler, but that sense of satisfaction, that sense of luxury, that sense of comfort. You know, before the United States, before the rise of our free market, the rise of our free society, most people had very little joy and comfort and luxury in their lives. They were born, they existed, maybe they procreated, and they died. And that was it. Americans have joy, we have holidays, we have events, we have sports, we have concerts, we have all the things that other people around the country could only dream about because we're independent, we're free. For how much longer, I don't know. Because if the Democrats get their way, they will take every ounce of your freedom away from you. But what about abortion, Andrew? What about abortion? Abortion is not the essence of freedom. Terminating a life, refusing to recognize life, refusing to take responsibility for life, that's not freedom. That's not liberty. This idea of forced birth, that's ridiculous. America is about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if it wasn't, why are people fleeing some of the most tyrannical nations on earth, trying as best they can, desperately, to get into this country? Independence Day is one of the most important days of the year. It's the day we celebrate the creation of freedom as we know it. And even for people who didn't start out free, they're free now, fully enfranchised. Every single law-abiding, legal American is fully enfranchised in the freedom of our society and protected by our Constitution. You want to know why I'm a conservative? You want to know why I believe in these things? Because I can't see any other workable alternative. I don't hear anything coming from the Democrats or the hard left that in any way could replace the beauty of constitutional liberty and freedom in this country.